Hey, welcome to the Kind of Sleepy Podcast. I'm your host, Knowledge, and I ain't got nobody to my left right now.
I know, right?
She'll be here in a little bit. She'll be late. Just tired. It's just all on CP time.
I'm trying to tell EP time.
EP time. That's what it
EP
is.
time.
So, but who do I got sitting to my right?
Hey, you already know who it is. Right hand man. Your boy Tenaro Reed, a.k.a. Natty Bad Tattoo Dreadlock owner, operator of Slaughterhouse Tattoos, a.k.a. Mr. Helping You Look Better Naked out here in these streets.
Yeah,
and in them sheets.
Yeah, just don't be naked out here in the streets.
Right, I'm trying to tell you.
They can lock you up for everything.
Right,
man.
yeah, it might be a violent offense.
Exactly. Might be. Oh, yeah, being naked is a violent offense these days.
You feel me?
We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. First up, we're going to talk about, I see I don't know if it was like this back in the day, but I noticed like in the past couple of years, I've been noticing a lot more news articles and stories about teachers having inappropriate relationship with students.
Yeah.
Now, I do know of one or two situations back when I was in school of teacher-student inappropriate relationships.
Yeah, wait, one or two.
One or two, but it seems like every day almost. I've seen 3 alone this week. Actually, I just saw 2 today, matter of fact. Of this, like, there was this one guy back home from where I'm from. Like, he's not even a teacher anymore. They just got him jammed up today about something that happened last school year. But here in Houston, Texas, Spring Branch ISD teacher Whitney Ann Laidlaw, she's 32 years old. She's charged with sexual assault of a child under 17 years of age and improper relationship with a student for 2 incidents occurring on August 1st and August 14th. The school year just started.
It started.
So apparently she was sending the girl sexually explicit text messages. Sent the little girl, the little 14-year-old girl, sent her some nudes.
That's terrible.
And then, touched her a couple times and then was asking her to send stuff. And the little girl was like, nah, the girl's daddy went through her phone.
Good job, Dad.
And was like, oh, no, we not doing this. No, sir, we not doing this.
Good job, Dad.
So shout out to that dad, and I hope that lady has learned her lesson and never teaches again or is allowed to be around anybody's kids.
I'm dead ass, man. The cougar's going crazy.
Cougar's going crazy. You stupid. So moving on to other stupid criminals. So Florida man strikes again. Florida man. Florida got the craziest people in the world.
They got the craziest laws that they can abide by.
Yeah, you got that right. This dude, 25-year-old Michael Paul, y'all might have saw his picture on the page. He had like all the keloids in the world on his earlobes. Like it was nasty.
Yeah.
Like it was like, bruh.
He
like
had ball sacks on his earlobe.
He really did though. Like that was just, bruh. Like how does that happen? But I said, what's that on his ears? And one of our commenters said, poverty. I was like, dang, that's harsh. But 25-year-old Michael Paul needed a ride home from the hospital. And when he came out, the hospital, the Broward Sheriff's Office fire rescue ambulance had been left running.
Shit.
He
said that was a blessing.
Exactly.
He said, God sent that here for me.
He said, Lord, I need a ride home.
Look at you. Working. He's leaving ambulances out.
He's a miracle worker. I'm trying to tell you. He made a way out of no way.
Out of none whatsoever.
And then he gave me free room and board, 3 hots and a cot for the next 5 to 10.
For real. They gonna tear his ass up.
So he was arrested in charge of grand theft auto, driving with a suspended or revoked license, and violating a learner's permit.
Hot damn.
So wait a minute. So he stole the car. That's the grand theft auto.
Right.
Driving with a suspended or revoked license. So his license had already been revoked. I guess they bumped him back down to a learner's permit. And now he violated his learner's permit.
Yeah, it was after 6 o'clock.
Man.
You can't drive after 6 o'clock with a permit. I'm telling you, that's
Hey, man, Florida, y'all got to get y'all people, man.
They got to get it together.
They got to really get it together. But I'm going to tell you who don't need to get it together. I'm actually impressed by this. And I'm sad that I didn't think about it first. Ebony Cooper and Leah Presley. Them my heroes this week. Them my heroes. They out of Savannah, Georgia. They got arrested by the Chatham Savannah Counter Narcotics Team after they were found selling marijuana edibles at a church event in Savannah, Georgia.
At the church.
Where better to sell weed edibles than at church?
Somebody might need to relax.
You know what? And okay, so first of all, I don't believe smoking weed is a sin.
It's a plan.
I don't believe smoking weed is a sin.
Right.
And I believe that there are some things, I think that weed is a natural element that God gave us.
Yeah.
That helps us with physical and sometimes mental ailments. Like you
Right.
see what CBD oil does for people with epilepsy.
Right.
You see what it does for people's appetites that have, these terminal
chemotherapy,
diseases,
yeah.
chemo, all that, painkillers. I know people who have chronic pain issues and they use marijuana to help them with their chronic pain issues so they can go day to day.
Yeah, multiple baby mothers.
Yeah.
It helps with all that shit.
Shit does help deal with that. Swear it help deal with that shit. But no, and I'm sitting here looking at the evidence. I mean, okay, so they did have a pink pistol, which probably is what really got them jammed up.
Yeah, they was guarding stash.
Oh yeah, but they had Rice Krispie treats, they had brownies. Somebody on my timeline said, do they deliver or do they ship? I'm like, girl, if you don't get your own recipe.
Well, they had a little scripture like taped to it.
I don't know what it is. They look well packaged and wrapped up though. Like,
like they was ready.
It's got to be a scripture or something dealing with marijuana in the Bible though.
I'm trying to figure out though. My thing is, how did they find out that the edibles contain marijuana or THC?
Well, I think what happened was Sister Myrtle got high.
Right.
And sat there and kept coming back to the table and kept eating.
She came back with a Popeyes meal.
Right, and then she came back with the number 2 usher board and got all them high. And they was probably sitting on the front row, and somebody fell out, and they put the white sheet over them, and they knew something was wrong.
Something wrong. Yeah, she was running a victory lap. She took a victory nap.
Exactly.
Yeah, she took the victory nap.
So you know what? I'm googling this now. I'm gonna look up scriptures on marijuana. I want to see if there's actually some biblical stuff to deal with marijuana. Maybe that's what it. Okay, so openbible.info. What does the Bible say about marijuana?
I say nothing.
Genesis 1:29. Ready, read. And God said, behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food. Genesis 9:3. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything.
Yeah, them green plants that make you eat everything.
I mean, that sound.
It's vague, but you know.
Okay, so I got another one. It says Genesis 1:29-31. We talked about this. We said this earlier. Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth. To you it will be. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good.
There it is.
I mean, if it's helping people, I don't see why God would be mad at things that he made for helping people.
Yeah, he put this on the planet.
So, yeah. So,
and it was good.
The Kind of Super Podcast says that marijuana is not a sin.
It's not a sin.
Amen. Moving right along. I've been stopped giving this lady passes. And I wish our listeners and some of our other folks would stop giving her a pass too. Lauryn Hill.
Oh man.
So she done removed Santa Gold and Nas from her tour. They were supposed to be in Raleigh soon.
Right.
Not too far from here. And really, like, I'm pretty sure Santa Gold and Nas were the only people who were showing up on time.
Yeah, it was basically gonna be there.
So, I'm thinking like she removed Santa Gold and Nas from her tour. I think she probably also removed herself at that point because she wasn't making enough concert dates. Like, I don't get it, man. What is up with her?
I mean, I just think Lauren is on the path of just self-sabotage. You know what I mean? Because like you say before, we've given her plenty of chances, man. And, and everybody keeps the door open for Lauren. Right. But Lauren keeps slamming the door in our face. She don't want to come in. Right. She don't want to come in. So I've always been an advocate for Lauren, but I think we need to definitely kick her ass off the island.
Yeah,
man.
I'm done. Like, I really am done. I've been done for quite a while, man, because, like, the thing is about this, like...
And I was looking forward to that concert.
I mean, me too. And my thing is about it is like, yo, like, nobody asked you to come back.
Nobody.
Nobody asked you to go on tour.
Nobody.
Nobody asked you to do these concerts.
Nobody.
Nobody asked you to sell tickets.
Nobody.
However, if we buy tickets, if we pay for a service, we would like to have it. I'm not saying that we own you. I'm not saying that we need to monopolize your time. But if you provide us, if you're giving me a ticket is a guarantee. That is a guarantee that at a certain time, within a reasonable time, you will be there to perform your songs that we paid for.
I'm just on the route, man. I just keep it on YouTube.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I can listen to the Miseducation in my car.
Yeah, you dig it
and be perfectly fine.
Yeah, Laura just she ain't fucking with us.
You're not gonna play with me like that. Like, and the thing is like she knows that we still love her like that. She knows it, and she plays on that.
Yeah,
and
she robbing us without a pistol.
I think at this point she think I've been said this. She think we stupid. Mm-hmm. She really think we stupid, and I ain't dumb enough to deal with that. I'm sorry.
I ain't like her songs that much to deal with that shit.
I didn't like the Unplugged album.
Yeah, man. I ain't look. When it comes down, it comes down to my cheddar.
Hey,
shit,
look.
I cut anybody off for that.
Everybody got to go.
Yeah, Lauren. Hey, I'm sorry, Lauren, but you can take your little nappy head, non-showing ass on, man. you can slide on through, babe. I'm done. Hey, look, Natty done with you. I'm cool on Lauren.
I'm through. I'm through with it. I'm not dealing with it no more. So next up. Okay, so I was gonna say, speaking of career suicide, but I can't say that here. Eminem versus MGK. So Eminem finally responded to MGK's Rap Devil. He put out a song called Kill Shot.
Right.
Some people out there saying, "Oh, it's over for MGK. Eminem won." Some people saying, "Oh, Eminem's song was trash. Eminem lost. I can't believe Eminem lost this battle." You know, and then you got the people out there that's still on Eminem from 1999.
Right.
You know, like, "Oh, Eminem the best, he the greatest, yada, yada, yada." And then they missing the fact that, they're missing what really is going on right here. I think a lot of people really missing this. So MGK, in his song, like, of course, he didn't have a lot of hard bars. Don't get me wrong. Right. He didn't have a lot of punchlines. But you got to listen to what he's saying. He's saying, you name dropping Trick Trick. He said, you called Diddy to, tell him to, I asked me to apologize. You called Paul and had Paul call me on three-way to ask me to apologize. Talking about industry stuff. Saying that Eminem is basically acting like Nicki Minaj.
And and the thing about it with the MGK diss, it was straightforward. And it was direct on.
I like the song itself.
Right. You know what I mean? Like you say, the bars wasn't overly extravagant.
But he ain't no
he got to the point. Yeah,
rapper,
he got to the point.
Right.
He said what he had to say. And what he had to say, he said it loud.
Yeah.
And he said it clear.
He said it with his chest.
Yeah, look here.
Hey, you come out there. Hey. He came out there with the shovel. Like, that's what's happening.
Yeah, he was with all the shits now.
Yeah, he came for action.
And, and M, if you are a lyricist, how can I put it?
When you're on Eminem's level,
it's kind of hard to step down and be direct. We would have loved to see the 8 Mile Eminem.
Now here's what I did notice though. Joe Budden did a whole segment of the podcast about him, right? Joe Budden's retired, and I noticed that in the original song where he took the shot at Joe Budden, where he made MGK jump out the window,
right?
Joe responded in Joe's platform on his podcast, on his show.
Right.
Now, it's funny because Remy said he was pussy for not responding. Said it to his face on his show. And I was like, whoa. I mean, you that ain't enough to pull that man out of retirement yet.
Right. That man said, I'm cool.
He was like, he dealt with a domestic violence issue, but so did Eminem. So, you can't. Joe said, you're not getting me out the bed for a domestic violence issue.
Yeah, what I mean? I'm cool on that.
I get that. But he name dropped Joe Budden again. On this track, on this Kill Shot track.
Kill Shot track.
So I'm interested to see if he gonna I know that MGK is gonna come back with something. I think that I'm not gonna say I know. I hope he comes back with something.
I think he got the momentum right now.
Yeah, I think if MGK comes back with something, he will have earned more respect.
Right.
And if Eminem comes back with something and it's not a complete and total annihilation of MGK, and he got to call Budden out, because the thing is, who has Eminem ever destroyed? In a real rap battle, who is Eminem? Now, I'm not talking about this standing on stage, prison poetry, spoken word, written, quote unquote, freestyles type joint. I'm talking about real life, song for song, bar for bar. Let them have it. Other than Everlasting Moby and Mariah Carey.
I was about to say, yeah, he slaughtered Mariah and Nick Cannon.
And then Mariah did Obsessed. You was like, okay.
And Nick Cannon.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, but when it comes down to rap
Okay,
battles,
Benzino. But Benzino, I mean, you think about
nobody
it.
thinks.
Here's my
Nobody,
thing. You got Eminem as Mike Tyson, right?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't out here seeing Mike Tyson fight Peter McNeely every week.
right.
He fought
Come
Peter
on.
McNeely as a tune-up match when he came back. If you ain't out here, if Mike Tyson wasn't fighting George Foreman, Lennox Lewis, and Evander Holyfield, I didn't want to see it.
Yeah, M, he hasn't had any formidable opponents. I actually say that.
Now, you
Because a
got-
lot of people were willing to take the
Scared of
back
him.
seat. Yeah, they take the back seat and just let M slide.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because he was the white boy that can rap. That's how I look at it. You know, like my dad always say, it's easy to kick somebody that look like you. You know, so with rap being a predominantly black field, so it's easy for us to go
fight
ahead,
each other.
and diss each other and jump on each other's back and do this and ride each other. But because he looks different.
Now now I had somebody try to argue me down that Joe Budden would get demolished by Eminem.
Oh fuck, nah.
I said,
nah.
y'all ain't paying attention.
Nah, Joey.
Joe has traded bars with Royce.
Right.
Quiet as kept. Royce has traded bars with M, taking
M.
shots at M, and people didn't realize that was going on for a
Right.
while. Royce has traded bars with M. Joe has traded bars with Royce. Joe has traded bars with Drake.
Right.
Now people kept acting like Joe was jumping out of the window and all kinds of wrong for that.
Nah, he wet Drake
But
up though.
He bodied him.
Yeah,
That
he
making
wet
of a
Drake
murderer.
up. Yeah.
He did his thing.
Yeah, he wet Drake up.
Him and Jay-Z traded bars. People don't know about that.
Right.
He traded bars with Jay-Z. I mean, you got that list now.
Yeah, you know, Joey, he always was that rapper that didn't have any, how can I put it? He didn't have any qualms about winning or losing. He always
Right.
showed up for the fight.
Right, exactly.
You gonna show up for the fight.
Oh yeah. And some of them battles he won.
Right.
I mean,
The war?
yeah.
Maybe not.
I mean,
but the battle?
I mean, because if you look at everybody we just named, they're more successful than he is.
Yeah.
And he made a point to acknowledge that. He said it's really hard to talk shit to a rich nigga when you ain't rich. He
Sort of like Cannabis and LL.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because Cannabis really demolished LL.
Lyrically.
But didn't nobody want to give him the weight. You know?
He was a pup.
Yeah. And so the thing is now, so Joe was like, now, I'm a rich nigga too. I ain't as rich as you,
But
we can go.
look, yeah, we got some commas in the bank now.
We can say something now. We can do this. We can make
Right.
this happen.
But I get a momentum to MGK though.
Yeah,
man.
I
really do.
I want to see this one play out. I really want to see this one play
Yeah, I
out.
hope it don't fizzle out like, you know what I mean, like Drake and Pusha T fizzled out.
man.
You know what I mean? I
Man,
know.
if Puffy come in here playing this J Prince stuff, man,
Right.
I hope he Diddy dance his ass smooth out the way.
I'm trying
man.
to tell you, go ahead and Harlem shake his ass all the way off the end of the planet.
Exactly. Just Diddy bop your way smooth out the industry. Well,
Uh-oh.
hey,
What?
look who's here.
Hello.
Hey,
Knowledge. You got EP at the door. You want me to send her down now?
she our dad, grandma.
She done came in this house and ain't even give nobody no sugar or speak or nothing.
You just rude.
Sorry, Grandma.
Yep, you is.
How you doing, Missy P?
I'm okay.
Are you sure? Because
Yes.
you limped in here.
I did limp in here.
What happened?
I don't
Got into a fight?
know.
Was you at that fight between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good.
Speaking of Nicki Minaj,
What you got to say? Uh-oh.
I do have to say that I am here for the Barbie Dream song.
Never heard it.
I
Y'all
mean,
ain't heard it.
No.
I've heard it. I think it's all right. I
like
don't dislike it.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, I don't dislike it. I don't dislike Nicki Minaj. I dislike what she's doing. I think her antics right now are trash, but
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, you got a whole song talking about dudes that you know,
yeah.
elfed with, so to speak.
Or claim or have been associated with.
Well, yeah, I mean, when I first heard it, of course, I don't think any of it's true. I think she's just, you know.
No, it's the same thing as that old Biggie song, "Dreams of."
Right.
Yeah, hitting the R&B chick.
Right.
Right.
So I was like, yo, I'm
And-
feeling
but
it. But I
here's
feel
what's
some
crazy,
kind of way,
though.
though. Like, yo, how do you do that when you know you, like, them beef with Kim?
And Kim did that. Kim made her own thing.
Yeah.
You know, because have you gone back and listened to those songs, though? Have you realized, like, 90% of the people they talking about are no longer singing and you don't even remember what they look like?
Right.
Yep.
That's crazy to me. And when she said shout out to Zana because he finally out of special ed, I ain't know how to feel about that. But I laughed though. I'm just gonna tell you that now.
I'm here for it. That has been on replay today.
Okay. All right. I hear
I mean,
you.
not that I'm not a huge Nicki fan,
you know.
but I do F's with that song.
I got you. Well, speaking of people you shouldn't F with, Katt Williams. Please don't ever try to roast Katt Williams.
No,
It is not gonna end well for you.
that's not the move.
So I don't know if y'all know y'all saw the video where Katt Williams was roasting Wanda Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all see where her husband pulled a gun on him?
I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
So okay, they don't have any video of
God
it.
damn, he roasted her so bad.
Yeah.
He could pull the tool out.
So they pulled up. So they was originally the interview was because Red what's his name was Red Grant.
Red Grant.
He was having that comedy show at the Atlanta Comedy Theater.
Right.
And so when Katt Williams showed up to the show, apparently he said, "I told you don't mess with me. I had you going viral." And so then her husband and 2 sons, kind of pulled up on him. And so his story is that they pulled the strap and he ran next door to the discount food mart or something like that. And somebody called the police and they talked to the police there. The husband's story is that he was chasing him during the confrontation and the gun fell out of his waistband. Yeah, because that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that Katt Williams is almost like the equivalent to Miss Sophia.
Okay, you explain that, please.
All his life he had to fight.
had to
I'm
fight.
just
Yeah,
saying.
Well, you
Yeah.
gotta understand, Katt Williams got a Napoleon complex like us.
Yeah, Katt just...
Now, for also people who may not have seen it, and this may just be going off of what people have said. He did not come to the show and just roast her just because.
Right.
Like she was throwing shots, he was just shooting back.
So what I looked at, and I went to school for communications or whatever, and I was looking at the interview stuff, and so she asked him a question, and she cut him off in the mid-answer, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to give you the answer," and then so she took a shot at him, and then he was like, "Oh,
This is what we
so
doing.
this the game we playing."
Yeah, this is
Right.
what we doing. Okay.
And then what really made me mad about the whole scenario, so they talked about it for 43 minutes on V103 the next morning, yesterday morning, matter of fact. And Wanda was claiming, she tried to say, I didn't come here with that spirit. I was going to help feed.
Bye,
shit.
Felicia.
Yeah.
I was going to help feed the homeless.
Get your
after
monkey ass.
the show, and he had a really just negative spirit. He really didn't even want to come in and do the interview, and I kind of begged him to do the interview a little bit, and then she started playing the victim. She said, "That's not my type of comedy. I don't go back and forth tit for tat like that, but I have integrity, so I had to say something." If you had integrity, you would have shut the fuck up.
You would have shut your hey my man, brother, listen.
Right.
It's all love. I didn't mean it like that. If you were offended by, what clearly he was offended by, what you did, clear it up.
Yeah,
and
that's
keep it
all.
moving, but she didn't do that. And then
She tried to ride with it.
right, I was actually offended when she kept doing the whole, convict thing or talking about him being in prison and jail and different stuff like that. And I was like, you just gonna beat the brother down?
Right.
Like-
don't expect them to bust back.
Exactly. But I mean, even outside of it being a whole, comical thing, like you can't say an encouraging word to your brother.
My biggest thing is don't don't throw shots if you can't take shots.
Right, man.
Yeah, she threw him and hit her hand.
My logic has always
She should have
been
hit her head.
Exactly. my biggest thing is this. I always say you can control how you act. You can't control how somebody responds.
Right.
So if I send a shot at you, jokingly or not, like I don't know what your trigger is. Like I can joke with you.
Right.
But if it's something that pisses you off, you gonna tell me,
Man,
hey bro,
look
no, that ain't cool. You gonna tell me that, and I'll
Right.
be like, you know what, my bad,
My
I was
bad,
joking.
G. Yeah,
my bad.
Yeah, we keep it moving.
And we keep it moving. But if you send one back and we joking like that, we going back and forth. Now if you cross the line, I'd be like, hey bro, come on, dog.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, if I'm sending a shot, I'm expecting to get one back, and I don't know, And the thing is, people like to blame this new generation for being soft. How old is Wanda Smith? Like 43? 44?
Old enough to know better.
Yeah. She grew up when we played the Dozens. You ain't pulling no strap on nobody over talking about your mama.
No.
And so I damn sure ain't gonna pull no strap on you for talking about $17.99 worth of jewelry you had
Right.
on.
Yeah, on a minute.
Come on, dog.
Man. Just go ahead and take that tongue
Take that-
lashing.
I
Exactly.
mean, he was clowning her jewelry, but shout out to paparazzi because I miss with the $5 paparazzi jewelry.
Well, I'm just saying, if you rock it, own it. But don't try to talk about that man. Talk about he got on old clothes.
right.
Come on, bro. Them third grade insults ain't gonna hurt me.
No.
And that's what it was.
Shots back.
She couldn't get them shots off,
She couldn't let
and
him
he
up.
was letting off the whole clip.
Man, he opened. He let
Right.
It was embarrassing, to be honest.
Right.
Like, sister, please be quiet.
Yeah, he had the drum on her.
Then she got mad at Frank Ski. Talking about Frank, why you didn't stop it?
What?
You should have shut up.
Frank said he want that smoke.
Frank said straight up. Frank said we have equal power here. He said I tried to go to commercial multiple times, but
did.
you kept going. So I figured this was what you wanted.
That's what you wanted.
He said you at any point in time could have looked at the producer and said, well, let's go to commercial. And we would have done it. We could have done it. So that's how I knew she was full of it.
Yeah.
Think about it. Frank Ski has been in the radio industry for 20 plus years.
Yeah,
Frank Ski is the A mic. Wanda is the B mic. The thing is about being an A mic or a B mic, or a 1 mic or a 2 mic, depending on what station you at. Either one of you can quite literally look at the producer and pull the chicken switch.
That's
you
it.
can be like, hey, we need a break. Or you can say, hey, no good. You can cut it.
Yeah.
I've had interviews before on radio where I've looked at somebody and been like, okay, this is trash. I'm done. And I've looked at whoever the producer was and been like, and just did the cut sign. We go into commercial, we're done. Now, I've had some interviews where I wanted to, now, there's one thing, they said they're gonna drop music. She said that in the beginning of them talking.
Right.
That they weren't gonna play any music for a while. They were just gonna do the interview and let it roll because they thought people wanted to hear it. And so the thing is, I had an interview with Black Violin when I was in the Army.
Right.
I was interviewing Black Violin. Those are those two brothers that do the hip-hop violin thing. They go all over the world to do this. And they had come to Iraq to do it for the troops. And I thought this was the dopest interview I had had, but I knew if we didn't hit those musical time hits, people don't know. Sometimes people will judge what time it is based on the radio and whether they hear music or whether they hear talking. Okay?
Midday traffic. You
Right,
know what I mean?
all that.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, I knew if we didn't hit those song hits, we was gonna, confuse some people. But the thing is, I really wanted to drop music for that interview because it was a great interview. Those were two great guys. They thought they could do the same thing here with Katt and ended up getting a viral moment where Wanda got embarrassed.
Yeah. You got a whole headache.
Hey, don't throw rocks at the throne.
We used to call it Donkey Kong back in the day.
Yeah, because she just got her her whole motherfucking head bashed in.
I'm
For real.
trying to tell you. Anyway, speaking of people who aren't funny, Roseanne, she's back in the news. So they have a spinoff show to her show called The Connors.
Right.
And this is so funny to me. I'm sorry.
Who keep putting himself on TV?
Wait.
I'm sorry.
Listen.
Question.
She's not gonna be on the show.
Okay.
She dies. Her character
I thought she did,
dies
right.
from an opioid overdose.
I mean, shit. Can we bring entertainment into reality?
So opioid addiction is not funny
No.
in any way, shape, form, or fashion. No addiction to me is funny in any way, shape, form, or fashion. That's just not that's not a joking matter to me.
I don't.
But for Roseanne to get killed off her own show
Yeah, I mean,
like that,
I would think it'd be a donut overdose, but
a diabetic coma.
Yeah.
Diabetic coma.
you know what I mean.
I was just, oh man,
They just killed off with the
But
perks.
but here's why I think it's really petty. I think it's really petty because her former husband not Dan Arnold. What's the other one's name? No, it is Dan Arnold. Tom Arnold.
Yeah.
The other one, Tom Arnold, said that she was addicted to opioids.
Ah, man, they played her like that.
And so they went back and made her die from an opioid addiction in the spinoff to her show. That's
Yeah, that's a petty
next
ass
level
shit.
petty.
Yeah,
That's Super Saiyan level petty.
like, well, I pop pills in real life.
That's petty on level 99.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's high octane petty right there.
I'm trying to tell you, that's crazy.
So does that happen towards the beginning of the season of the show?
I think that's how they open. That's probably
think,
how they
yeah.
open up the series.
Well, I just kind of feel like, okay, well, you brought a show back. You let her be on the show and then say, oh, well, not really because we're going to have you die after the first episode.
But
They didn't bring
because
her back on.
it was because of those racial comments she had made.
I know, so what's the point of even...
No, this is a whole new show.
I know.
Oh shit.
This
But
is
I'm
a
saying
whole
you
new
can have
show.
a whole new show. You're going to bring her onto a whole new show just to have her die.
She's not going to be on the show. Her character dies.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
what we're saying.
Okay, so we're talking about Roseanne the person versus Roseanne the character.
No,
No,
we're talking
we're talking
about the
about
actual
Roseanne,
show,
the show.
the character, the show.
okay, so her character dies.
Right.
Why even introduce
She's
her?
not going to act because that's how we know the Connors.
So
They could have just left her out. Is what I'm
Right.
saying. Like, what's the point?
But the thing is, you have to address. Like, think about it. Remember when on Family Matters when Judy walked upstairs and never came back down?
No.
no.
Y'all don't remember Judy from like the first and second season of Family Matters?
I remember her, but
Well,
did
was
she
like,
literally walk upstairs?
She
and not
walked
come
up
back
the
down?
steps and never came back down. They never said anything about her the next season.
well, she was one of Denise's friends. Oh, that's the Cosby Show.
Damn it, boy.
That was the aunt's daughter, right?
No, that was
little Richie
Laura's
was
sister.
that was her sister.
Yeah, that was Laura's sister. It was
Laura had a sister.
Laura had a sister
A
named
younger
Judy.
sister.
Yeah.
I remember Judy.
I thought she just
Judy
had.
got sent to her room and never came back down.
The hell for Rapunzel.
because she ended up like later on, like it was a big deal later on.
Oh
Like
my God.
when we was in school, like she ended up doing like porn and stuff like that, and had addiction problems and all that.
Because she was up there in that room.
Yeah,
she was
she
trapped
didn't get
in
to
a-
socialize.
Trapped in her
She
room
went to the upper room.
in real life. Okay,
She
but
had
they
the
had to
shortest
address it.
career
Like,
in TV.
like think about it when they went from dark skin unveiled to light skin unveiled,
Yeah.
and never really explained. The only thing you saw was Will say, "You look different."
Yeah, they was cracking jokes.
You kind of want some continuity there to say we know the Connors because of the Roseanne show. Wait, where's Roseanne? Because when they had to kill off James, you knew that James had that accident and damn.
But what happened? We wanted to know what happened to James in real life.
James got tired of shucking and jiving.
He's-
That's what he said. He said they got tired of shucking and jiving. For real, that's really what it was.
So he was trying to make it out of Cabrini Green, huh?
He said, "Man, how we don't never leave the project?
Never get out.
Like how does this
Never.
happen? Like
Never.
yeah?" And he didn't want to do that. And he said,
I feel it.
He said the show became more about JJ than the family and the day-to-day struggles and stuff like that. And I was like, that's real.
What was the maintenance man's name?
Boogman.
Buffalo Butt.
Yeah, that was Boogman.
Is he still alive?
I don't know. Let me Google it.
Yeah, hold on.
Ask Siri.
You might pull him up and he weighed like 110 pounds.
I think he is though, because he was doing like a Vegas show back in the day.
Is Bookman? Oh, it came right up in Google. Is Bookman from Good Times still alive? He's 80 years old now.
Damn.
Yeah, they just did a Where Are They Now from 2018.
God.
His name is Johnny Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was an actor for 52 years. He's retired now. He acted from 1961 to 2013.
Yeah, because he was doing
He
like
look good.
Yeah, he was doing like a show in Vegas.
Who's
Yeah.
in charge of Where Are They Now? And can I submit requests?
I mean, you just gotta find him. I mean,
No, like I don't want to find. I mean, can I submit a request to somebody to go? Find
I guess
somebody?
Google's in charge. I don't know.
I'm
I
gonna
thought
tell
it
you.
was like
who,
a Where Are They Now site or something.
I'm gonna tell you who's still looking 1,000, but Thelma.
Yo,
Yeah.
Thelma was
Hey.
the grand marshal for a homecoming parade not too long ago, and I was like, ooh.
I seen her with the turtleneck on.
Man, hey.
Thelma brought the turtlenecks. Hey, she brought the turtlenecks to the forefront.
Yes.
I was so mad when she married eBay.
Why?
He ain't love her.
Oh gosh.
Not like you did.
Not like I did. Love me some
Oh,
Thelma.
jagged edge. Okay.
Lord have mercy. So y'all president line again.
Who? What?
Can we say when?
I don't
he's
have
not?
I don't have a president.
He said 3,000 people did not die in the 2 hurricanes that hit Puerto Rico. When I left the island after the storm hit, they had anywhere from 6 to 18 deaths. As time went by, it did not go up by much. Then a long time later, they started to report really large numbers like 3,000. This was done by the Democrats in order to make me look as bad as possible when I was successfully raising billions of dollars to help rebuild Puerto Rico. If a person died for any reason, like old age, just add them onto the list. Bad politics. I love Puerto Rico. So this fool.
Oh God.
Oh, side note. Did y'all see why Mario Kart was trending today?
No.
I'm just gonna be petty.
Why? What? Oh.
So Stormy Daniels decided to describe the president's penis and said that it looked like the toad from Mario Kart.
What's wrong with it? I'm sorry. I felt. Y'all know I'm really like 78 at heart. What's wrong with him?
Let's move on by that. So why y'all
Just
president
gonna
was
introduce that and say move on.
Yeah,
So
we'll
I
move
I got
along.
questions.
so I don't know what the man Johnson looked like. So while y'all
told,
president was
actually.
lying, so while y'all president was lying, and I ain't talking about y'all too. I'm talking about y'all that's listening. So while y'all president was lying the House Republicans passed a bill that reclassified many nonviolent federal crimes as crimes of violence. So I'm going to give you a list of crimes, and I want you to tell me whether that's violent or nonviolent. Murder.
Violent.
Voluntary manslaughter.
Violent.
Assault.
Violent.
Violent.
Sexual abuse or aggravated sexual abuse.
Violent.
Abusive sexual contact.
Violent.
Child abuse.
Violent.
Kidnapping.
Violent.
Violent.
Robbery.
Violent.
Carjacking.
Violent.
Firearms use.
Depends.
Thank you. That's now classified as a violent crime. A violent federal crime.
Now, okay. Well, okay.
I can see firearms in use in furtherance of a violent crime. That's one thing. But just using firearms, I don't think is a violent crime.
Well, it depends.
Using it, define use.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
for me.
because you can like use it to pistol whip a nigga, and
that's
violent.
And
yeah,
that could be, and that's fair. That's assault.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but my thing is like if I just go to the gun range,
right,
and I committed like a different federal crime, you're not just gonna tack on this violent crime to me because I was using a firearm while I was at the gun range,
right,
but because you caught me with a firearm. So I'm worried that some of this may not be used in the proper context.
Well, I'm just saying,
and
when
it's
else
vague.
would you use it though?
I mean, here's the thing. So what's the definition of use? Could carrying
Firing, I think it would be
I would-
firing.
well,
the
that'd
actual
be classified under discharging then.
Yeah, discharging
Discharge,
firearm.
Yeah,
right.
versus using.
And that would be assault and battery or assault with a deadly weapon. Now, these are federal crimes, so I know the standard may be different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not sure. So maybe firearms use is quite literally the discharging of a firearm, but I don't know. Just at a first glance, I don't know.
Well, I'm trying to wrap my head around, like Miss EP said, when would using a firearm be nonviolent?
I think the way that the Black Panthers use them were nonviolent. The threat of violence sometimes is enough to deter something. So I think brandishing.
See,
I don't think,
that's what I was going to say.
I don't
They-
find brandishing to be violent
you know,
No.
in
no,
the right context.
but they wasn't using.
Right.
So
But the thing is, that's where I think that the boundary may be gray.
Right.
And that's what concerns me about that. So I got some more for you. Burglary,
oh yeah, violent,
Violent.
arson,
violent,
Violent.
extortion,
violent.
communication of threats.
It could be violent.
If I say I'm gonna beat your ass, that's me being mad at you. That is me talking to you in a certain manner.
Mm-hmm.
That's not violent. Not
But
to
it's-
me.
I mean, so that's sort of like abuse. Abuse can be verbal abuse or
Okay.
physical abuse.
And that's fair. So that in and of itself. So the abuse that they used was child abuse.
Yeah, of course, that's violent, but you know,
And then they have sexual abuse
right? Violent,
or abusive sexual contact.
violent.
I think the key here is performing or behaving in a violent manner. And I think that's what they tried to turn it into. Like, I can tell you all day, I can say as calm as hell, I beat your ass.
Yeah,
That's
but
not
if I
violent
give you
to me.
specifics and I tell you stuff like I'm gonna cut you up into little bitty pieces when you go outside, I'm gonna be waiting for
Okay.
you in the
Right.
dark in the corner.
Now let's
You know
talk
what I'm
about
saying?
that.
And you really like fearful.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that. Technically, by a lot of state laws, this is the one thing I did learn in law school, is that technically that can be considered assault.
Right.
So I think that maybe this communication of threats may be an extension of the terroristic threats type thing. Like, I'll blow this motherfucker up.
Right.
So I don't know. But now we're getting into the more interesting ones. You got coercion. That's violent. Right?
True.
Fleeing.
Shit, I'm scared.
No.
How can running away be a violent
I'm
act?
scared of the motherfucker.
That is now classified as a violent federal crime, fleeing.
That's in favor of police officers.
Of course.
Right.
So then we got interference with flight crew members in attendance. That may or may not be violent, but I understand that that's a 9/11, post 9/11 thing. Domestic violence.
Of course,
Keyword
violent.
Hostage taking.
Yeah.
Oh, non-violent. I might have took him to McDonald's.
Stalking.
He just started laughing.
Stalking is not necessarily violent in act, but it is violent in intent.
Right.
And that's my thought there.
Yeah.
Human trafficking.
Yeah.
Piracy. Now, this is where I got a problem with.
Uh-oh.
So,
She said, "Oh,
is this the piracy? Like, give me your booty.
right."
Or the piracy, like, hey, man, I got 3 DVDs for 10.
DVDs for 10.
Now that is what scares me about that
Which-
being a federal crime.
When you think
It's
about
already a federal crime, but to make it a violent federal crime possibly adds on some stipulations and mandatory minimums and violent law regulations and stuff like that.
Okay, well, let me ask you this though: what's the difference in selling 3 DVDs for $10 and breaking into somebody's house and stealing something and selling it to somebody for $10? You still
Okay.
stole it.
Okay.
And you sold it.
Check this out.
But you walked into a domain.
I what you said at first is the
Yeah.
key. Breaking and entering.
Mm-hmm.
I have entered somebody's living domicile where they rest their head and where they have an expectation of privacy.
And I was unwanted.
Okay.
And then I went and took something from them that was in their home where they have a reasonable expectation of safety and security. Whereas these public works that get put out in the public,
Free streaming.
and so the thing is, we know that it's illegal to, stream or
Keyword, you
download.
know.
We know it's illegal to stream or download or anything like that. We get that. However, when it is put out in a public venue like that, there is no longer a reasonable expectation of a certain amount of privacy. And plus, no one's safety, security, and home resting place were violated in that act.
Well, they
Now, do I
ahead.
think it's a crime? Yes. Do I think it's a crime of violence? No, I don't.
But you
You're
know
still
what?
stealing from somebody and making money off of it.
And I'm not mad at that. However, there's a difference between a crime of violent taking and theft. That's why there's a difference between armed robbery and theft by deception. That's why there's a difference between technically burglary and breaking and entering. There's a difference there.
Now, I'm not saying I agree with it.
Yeah.
I was just playing devil's
There's a difference
advocate.
between grand theft auto and carjacking.
Because I got several DVDs at the house.
Okay. Thank you for dry snitching on yourself.
Just saying.
Appreciate you.
I mean, they
She just said
old.
DVD. She didn't
Right.
say they was burned DVDs.
Exactly.
Aha.
You feel me?
But you know the reason
You're
why
so ridiculous.
the reason why they probably look at it as a violent crime knowledge is that they look at anything quote unquote considered as bootlegging. They look at it as financial revenue for terrorists.
That's the key.
For terrorist attacks and funding terrorist groups and things like that. Because they don't get no cut of the bread.
Under the
don't-
table money.
Right.
Under the table
Anything
money
under the
is
table
violent.
is violent. For real.
We ain't getting no cuts in it.
That's it.
Violent.
Uncle Sam ain't getting he ain't getting no piece of the pie. Violent. Oh, you selling bootleg patty pies on Thanksgiving? Violent.
So
Oh, you got free honey baked hams because you work there? Violent.
So
baked
think,
Oh, you need a
speaking of-
tip? No, go
so
ahead.
speaking of people who are thieves, let's talk about culture vultures.
Oh man, these
Let's talk about culture vultures for a second.
shit. We got to stop being food for the vulture.
I agree. So I want to give a shout out to Maddie, culture vulture, Charlotte's #1 culture vulture. What did she call herself on the Instagram? Brazy something, brazy badass.
Little stringer had dirty foot. Little stringer had dirty foot. Raggedy Ann, aka Raggedy Anisha.
Her name on Instagram is
Not quite about that life.
Right.
Brazy Badass. That's her name on Instagram. So Maddie gets on her Facebook Live and she's going on and on. N-word this, N-word that, nigga this, nigga that, yada, yada, yada. You did blah, 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 blah with NBA YoungBoy. She talking out of neck to somebody that she clearly doesn't get along with. And somebody knocks on her door. And she shook. But she like, okay, so she going on and on. And somebody on her Facebook Live says, you want to be black. And she says, the fuck? What I want to be black for? Don't y'all got the hardest lives? Wasn't y'all slaves? Now,
That's somebody's homegirl.
first of all, Maddie, my first question is, why wouldn't anyone want to be black?
This shit is beautiful.
I mean, to be as resilient, as strong, as naturally gifted, as naturally as intelligent, as naturally creative as black people are, we are the driving force behind every movement in this country from the creative side. And eventually people are forced to bow down. Do we have it hard? Absolutely, Maddie. But the fact that you said it like that in such a way to other us and make it seem as though we were less than lets me know very well that you are all too aware of your white privilege. However, while you calling yourself brazy to associate yourself with a street organization, and you around here popping shit and being a promoter for all these predominantly black functions, taking pictures with all these black men who letting you get away with saying nigga this, nigga that, nigga this, nigga that, and act like you really popping, I don't blame you for your fuck shit.
Okay.
I don't. You know who I blame for your fuck shit and thinking that it's okay to get out and pop out there like that? I blame the people around you and the black people that make excuses for you. And see, this is my biggest problem with us as a people sometimes. I say, you know what this episode gonna be named? And we're gonna talk about this for just a second. We shan't overcome. We shan't overcome because y'all keep giving people passes to disrespect us like this. So when I posted up the video, and then I posted up her mugshot, because right after she said this, wasn't y'all slaves? Why the fuck would I want to be y'all? Y'all got the hardest life out here. The cops came and got her on some scamming shit.
Whoop, whoop.
That was the police at her door. I laughed. I thought it was quite hilarious. It was like, oh, keep that same energy when you get it behind them walls, shouted.
Right.
But so this is what bothered me the most about the whole thing. Somebody, a black woman, commented, maybe I missed something.
Blast
She
her.
honestly just said the truth. It is hard. We do have it hard. Not everyone is cut out for it. I mean, was she supposed to say she wanted to be black? Then you would be mad at that. I'm confused at what was wrong here. The fact that you, a whole adult black woman, do not understand the concept of context in 2018 when a white female is saying, why would I want to be black? And then disrespecting your ancestors by saying, wasn't y'all slaves? Y'all got the hardest life out here.
Yeah.
Basically saying that my life is easier because I'm white and y'all aren't having as good a life as me because of your skin color. The fact that you completely missed that context, the fact that we're so willing to ignore the context of that is absolutely ridiculous. And we do it all the time. We give these culture vultures, these losers, these idiots, these jokes of human beings, these caricatures of black life, space in our communities, our activities, our organizations, and our spaces, and then give them country. We give them free reign. We give them nicknames like white chocolate. And everybody got a white dude in their hood.
Daddy, snow bunny.
Yeah, everybody got a white dude in their hood that they might call white chocolate. I got a frat brother that I met a couple weeks ago, and his line name was Affirmative Action. I thought it was the funniest thing ever in life. But the thing is, those white people who are voluntarily in black spaces that are respectful, they understand where we are and they stand
Right.
beside us. They don't degrade us
Right.
for who we are while using their white privilege. And they acknowledge their white privilege and use it to their benefit as well as ours. And so this whole thing about she just said the truth. Okay. So if I say, if I'm talking, like, let's say I'm looking at you, Natty.
Mm-hmm.
We dudes.
Right up.
If I say, you ugly as shit.
Why you want to be me?
Or if I say, boy, fuck you, you ugly as shit, boy. Those are two different tones, right?
Right.
The context of those two statements mean two totally different things.
Right.
Right? And so the fact that we can sit here and be like, well, she said the truth. Okay, so let me tell you what I'm going to say this time. From now on, I'm going to say something disrespectful to you and anybody else that I feel thinks this way. And I'm going to say, what, I just told the truth.
And that's
You
it.
didn't like the context in which I said it?
Hey, it was the truth.
You didn't like my tone, huh?
It was the truth.
Oh, it was the truth. Why you mad? I guess if I said the opposite, I'd be a liar, and then you'd be mad at me for lying to you, right? Oh, okay. But the fact that we do this all the time, we make excuses for these folks, man. I'm so tired of people making excuses. Like when what was it? Somebody was okay. So the day after the shooting happened in Charleston,
Right.
the first thing they did was they trotted out those handkerchief head, hand wringing, foot tapping, tap dancing, foot shuffling Uncle Tom Negroes to tell y'all, well, we need to forgive Dylan Roof and we need to just put this racism behind us. We've been putting racism behind us for 400 years.
For the longest.
You motherfuckers don't want to actually fix the problem yet?
And that's what it boils down to.
That shit kills me. I don't see color. Well, guess what? The justice system does. Can you stand beside me, please? This white girl knew exactly what she was saying, talking about, oh, well, they was being racist to me. Heifer, wasn't nobody being racist to you. Stop it. You stop. You stop it right now with your stupid self.
And the thing about it, man, like you said before, we always come to the aid of every individual that cast a shadow on our greatness. You know, because if that was the first, if she had any inclination about what being an African American is and the origin of African Americans, the first word out of her mouth would not have been slave.
All she had to say was, girl, I don't want to be black.
I want to get burnt in the sun when I go outside.
So here's the thing. All the white people that I know that grew up in black spaces, that truly respect black people and truly care about black culture and truly care about their black friends, they would never say anything like that.
Yeah, because that was degrading.
A lot of them don't use the N-word because they like, well, I know how my boy feel about it. And the ones that do know who to use around.
Bingo.
I don't let it fly around me.
Right.
That word don't get no burn around here.
Personally, I feel like those were not her own opinions. I feel like she was repeating something that another black person told her during the conversation.
Which is entirely possible. Because, and the thing is, I noticed she's young. I've noticed that. Mm-hmm. A lot of these young dudes, they have so much self-hatred. Mm-hmm. They hate themselves.
Don't know themselves.
Thank you. It's easy to hate yourself when you don't recognize the king inside you.
That's it.
And that's just the reality of it. So the thing is, Maddie, Brazy, whatever you want to call yourself, I hope you learned something today. And stop scamming people. It's not cute. It's not cute.
Is she still in jail?
No, she bailed out and she commented under the Instagram. She was like, I bonded out the same day, goofy. Oh, okay. But I'm not. I don't know the girl personally, so I'm not gonna put her. But people was putting her business out there in the street.
You can take her. What's the other girl name? White girl Becky or whatever.
Bad baby.
No, not just her. It's another one. The one that really talks like.
I know what you're talking about. Oh, I can't think of her name right now.
You can take all three of them.
They all want to be the same person.
Out into the ocean.
They the same person.
I'm good. They can go. They can go away.
I agree. My thing is, people, let's stop giving people a pass to disrespect us when there are plenty of people out there who don't need a pass, who are willing to disrespect us without needing a pass, one of whom is a doctor, an anesthesiologist, Dr. Robert Greenberg at Johns Hopkins Hospital. Johns Hopkins. Okay, so this is a Facebook post by Aisha Bahia. I probably screwed that up. She's out of Baltimore, Maryland. She said, on Saturday, my son had an injury playing basketball that led us to Johns Hopkins Hospital in the children's emergency room. I was worried sick and learned that my son needed surgery that day. As I went into the operating room with my son, the anesthesiologist, Dr. Robert Greenberg, grilled us on what we did for a living as if he wanted us to make us the butt of his joke to his colleagues. Upon learning we were professionals, he then rushed my son and I to the OR, telling us to hurry up. When my son said he needed to use the bathroom, he then said he could give my son a box, which I then looked at him with a questioning expression, not understanding where he was going with that. My son was then given a bottle to urinate in the hall with no privacy. And when my son commented that it was weird, he said, "Don't worry, you'll get used to it in prison."
Wow.
Yeah, don't worry, you'll get used to it in prison. That's crazy to me.
I'm kind of speechless.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't. Because I'm just looking at myself fist pumping the glass in prison because I'm going to jail that day.
Well, Johns Hopkins has opened an investigation.
Yo, that is crazy.
And they said that they're going to look into this. I don't know if anything has come of this, but apparently this is not the only child he's done this to.
Did she say what happened? I mean, what was the injury?
No, it was just she just said a basketball injury.
Well, I'm assuming it had nothing to do with his genitals being exposed to have to use the bathroom. I would have several issues, not just aside from the comment, his mannerisms, and why did my son have to expose himself and use the bathroom in the hallway?
I mean, it's not even going to get that far. Why is my child not even in a hospital room that has a bathroom in it?
Yeah.
That part. So, yep.
No, that's
inaccessible.
my child, you wouldn't have used the bathroom. No,
so
we're not finna do that.
So speaking of more people who are stupid, I don't know if you guys saw the video of the 4 young men who were trying to go see one of their friends in Tallahassee, Florida, in this apartment complex. And this white guy was blocking them from getting in, saying that they didn't live there. And then another white resident who did live there said, "Why you got to be an asshole?" And he was challenging this white man who was trying to keep these young black males from coming into this apartment complex. So he finally let them in after, the young white man that lived there confronted him and basically kind of, told him to back down. So they're about to get on the elevator, and this guy gets on the elevator and says, "You guys are not getting on the elevator. You don't live here." And then they were like, "Yeah, we're going to see our friend." And so he pulls a gun out. And they basically like, "Yo, what you got the gun for?" He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then puts it away. So you brandish the firearm with these young men. These young men were FAMU students. Black men that went to Florida A&M University, one of the premier HBCUs in the country. Which his name was Donald Crandall Jr. He was the former general manager of the Baymont by Wyndham Hotel in Tallahassee. He's been fired by them, and charges have been filed against him for that incident. Okay. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to move to the next story because I want to combine the two. Both of Shem John, who was unjustly murdered in his apartment complex, in his own home, minding his own black-ass business, the police searched his apartment and found 10.4 grams of marijuana, less than half ounce, 3/8. Okay. And basically, now the smear campaign is on, and we know it, and we saw it coming. Mm-hmm. Both of them, Shem John was a college graduate. He had a good job working for PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is an accounting and financial services firm. He was in church. He was doing good. He was helping people, sending money back home to his family. And I just have a question with both of these stories. Like, growing up, we was told that, you need to get a good education and you got to be twice as good to get half as much. And, you need to go to college and you need to do right and help people and do all the things. These are all the respectability politics that were beat into us, not only by our black folks who subscribe to respectability politics, but also white racists that said that, well, you just need to go to school and get you an education because, you don't want to be one of those dumb ones out there on the corner and all that. We hear that all the time. And so now we got back-to-back stories. Back-to-back-to-back stories if you really want to get deep with it. We have back-to-back stories of black men, one of whom has graduated, 3 of whom were going to an institution of higher learning, and you got 2 black professionals, parents, who have to all deal with the same fucking racism for themselves and their children. At what point is it enough?
And it's not enough books. It's not enough degrees. It's not enough positions in corporate America that's going to change the mind of a white racist America, man. It's not going to happen. Now, you might get accepted. You might get walked past. But you still get talked about. You still get looked at. And that's what a lot of people have to understand is that no matter how far up the America's ladder you get, you still have to maintain the place that they put you. And it's that simple. Because like you said before, even though those individuals didn't live in that apartment complex, was he's the apartment complex owner? But you have an individual who's just renting just like anyone else, but he can try to dictate what they do.
Was he the security guard?
Right. I mean, even if he is a security guard.
He felt entitled to tell them where they belonged and where they didn't belong.
Bingo.
And see, that's what's crazy to me. Like, that's absolutely nuts. We see these stories day in, day out, week in, week out, and people have the nerve to sit here and say, I don't see color, or racism isn't a problem, or when you bring up race, why are you trying to divide us by race?
It's not a problem to them.
Yeah.
Until it happens.
It's crazy to
Until
me.
it happens.
That also makes me think about a story I read. There was a security guard, I want to say somewhere within the Atlanta area. And he went to an officer and asked the officer to, I guess, run the numbers on a firearm or something to see who it was registered to. Because the gentleman that he was questioning, he thought that maybe it was stolen or wasn't his or whatever the reason may have been. So the officer did it, but before doing so, I think he asked him who he worked for because he was from head to toe. He appeared to be a police officer. No, right. He appeared to be like he could have been an officer, but he was just a security guard. But he said something like maybe Gwinnett or something like that. So the police officer thought he was another police officer. So ran the gun. It was like stolen or something crazy was going on. Searched the other guy. He had some meth on him, some other stuff. A guy that should have been arrested. So the security guard was doing his job. He was doing what he should have done. So not only did they arrest the guy that the security guard was questioning, but they turned around and arrested the security guard
For
impersonating an officer.
Wow.
It was a black man.
Man.
So when you say you can only get as far as they let you go, I was like, so you have a black man who was doing the right thing, who was questioning an individual who held him, didn't kill him, Zimmerman, who wasn't even a security officer, and he's around here free, hadn't got any charges, but you can arrest this black man
for doing his job.
Just because technically he wasn't as clear as you wanted him to be.
Right. That's crazy. This is why I say that, and this is something that you mentioned too the other week. Live your life like you want to. Live your life. I tell people all the time, I live my life like King David, as a warrior and a king. Because the thing is, it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter how proper I talk. It doesn't matter how I dress, how I look. I looked at how they treated Barack Obama, who's the most respectable, well-educated black man in the country, most successful black man in the country, arguably, and they still treated him like a nigga.
Yeah,
so they'll treat me even worse. So I advise everybody to just live your life, man, and stop trying to play these games because these folks don't give a damn about you either way. Live your life. That's going to do it for us here on the KNWLDG podcast. Miss EP, I know you got to get to a softball game.
I do.
We know you ain't playing the way you live.
You got anything to tell the people?
No, man. Live life. Be happy on your own terms.
Hey,
That's
happy
it.
on your own.
On your own terms. Define it yourself.
Natty.
You already know
King.
I got some shit to say real quick.
Let them have it.
To all my melanated individuals, if you're going to call each other kings and queens, let's treat each other as such. Not just whenever you feel like it's appropriate, whenever it's in public, or whenever you're happy. Even when you are mad, treat your significant other like a queen. Treat your significant other like a king. And to all my unmelanated friends, call me a nigga if you want to.
Okay, so quick sidebar, and then we're going to get out of here. I don't call myself a king. I'll tell you why.
Well, it depends. If I'm at home, I run that shit.
Here's my thing. No. I call myself a prince. And I'll tell you why. The reason I call myself a prince is because I have not acquired that which a king has.
Well, I mean, everybody's kingdom is different.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
I mean, shit. Hey, look, because like the Kind of Sleepy podcast, that was your baby.
It is.
This is your kingdom.
But until I acquire that which a king has.
Which is a queen.
That too.
Yeah. You see how I plugged that in there?
I'm going to continue to call myself a prince.
But hold on. By your own terms.
Bingo.
So
But
when
that's
you
my thought process.
right, so let's not get it twisted. Anybody else that's listening and say, "Oh man, you shouldn't do that." Call yourself a king. When you say you haven't acquired what a king has, you mean by your own definition.
Exactly.
Let's clear that up.
So that's going to do it for us here. And as I say every week, be free, y'all. Appreciate y'all listening. We'll check y'all next week. Peace.
We out.